Good evening, and thank you for joining me tonight for a new video about the props I've used in my roleplays. So, this is going to be the 5th episode, I guess, and it's been a while since the last one. So, in tonight's video, I will cover several roleplays from the last year and show you the props I find to be the most interesting. So, not all of them, there are many, and I do not wish to make a 4 hours long video. So, let's dive in and start with the French teacher roleplays. And I'm going to show you the tingliest prop first. This is the wooden abacus. I used this one in the first teacher roleplay at the end of 2020. And I fell in love with the sounds. I remember I spent a lot of time looking for one that could look old enough and not with all these colorful beads that we usually see on modern abacuses. And this one was almost perfect. This is a Russian abacus, so slightly different from the Western European abacuses or those from China. There are 2 rows with 4 beads to count quarters. And on the others we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 beads. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. And now the chalks box. When it comes to chalks, I know some people think of the screechy sound of the blackboard, but what I enjoy is the sound coming from the chalks themselves. I don't know if it makes sense. And that's why I used it as a trigger in both of the videos, with a box filled with chalks. So they are different colors: brown, blue, green, white, orange, yellow, and These are very light, and I added other kinds in the box that were heavier, but I just can't find them. And I wanted to show you a few other props from these roleplays. I mean books, of course. Especially two of them that I used at the end of each video for reading. There was this one, Anthologie des poètes du XIXe siècle. It's a volume of poetry from the 19th century, probably published at the beginning of the 20th century, with many poems from French or Belgian poets. I found this book for €2 on a second-hand website, and that was such a bargain. It's in very good condition. With crinkly pages. And there was this one that I used in the first roleplay. This is called Claire à la ville, Claire in town, by A. Deval. This book belonged to my great-grandmother, Juliette, and she probably got it around 1910, I guess. And I have no information about this book. It looks like it's not published anymore, and I could not even find the name of the writer. It could be Amélie Alexandre, I have no idea. And it's not really in good condition. And it seems that my great-grandmother used it to dry clovers. So these are more than 100 years old. Four-leaf clovers, of course. Another one. was my selection from these two videos. And now I'm going to show you some props from the Lady of the Manor series. And we are going to start with a book again. But this one is a bit special. It is a blank book made of cotton paper. And I used it twice. There you can see some lines from Tristan and Isolde that I copied with some kind of a sloppy handwriting so I could quickly fill a page. And these are the lines I read in front of a real stone fireplace. And these were written when I was supposed to count my money. Cotton paper doesn't make any kind of creaky sound, as you can hear. It's much smoother and very soft. And each page is a one of a kind. This is my favorite paper. It looks so authentic. And the next item is a glass bowl. Nothing precious, you can find one for $10. And you can use it as a magnifying glass if you hold it very close to what you're looking at, almost on it. Or it can create an inverted image if you hold it further in front of a landscape, for example, and it is often used in photography. But I used mine as a magnifying glass to examine some coins, and I like the soft, light, metallic sound it makes when it's rubbed on a coin. It is a very unusual sound, in my opinion. Do you like it? another one. All right. And the final props from this video series I wanted to show you are the jeweler scale and, of course, the coins. This kind of scale was mainly used by jewelers and pharmacists because you can weigh very small, very light items and it's quite accurate. What a mess. So it is quite easy to use. This one is slightly broken, but let's try it. So I'm going to weigh a small coin. Let's try this one. And I'm going to try different weights that we have in the drawer until there is a perfect balance between the two small dishes. So 5 grams. Let's try 7. 9. Alright, so this coin's weight is 9 grams. And there are even lighter weights in this box. And now let's have a look at the coins. I already made an entire video with them, but I did not explain where they came from. So there are game coins made by Legendary, often used for role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. There are many coin series, but I chose 3 of them: medieval, Celtic and Elvish. Of course, as always, I will put links down below. And these are reproductions of Spanish doubloons used during the 16th century. They are very pretty. There is a smaller one. And of course, it is not gold. And that's it for the Lady of the Manor. Now, I know I already made a video about the steampunk optometrist's props, but since there were new ones in the latest version, I thought I would show a few of them. This is often used in ASMR roleplays. This is an otoscope for ear exam. So this one might be from the 50s, but I'm not sure. It might be a bit older. It comes with 3 different sizes of tips. Depending on the size of the ear, if it's an adult, a child. There was a light, but it's broken, and at the back, a magnifying glass. So it's not very different from the ones we see today. And this tool is an ophthalmoscope, probably from the 20s or 30s. So it comes with 2 magnifying glasses. And a small mirror to reflect the light directly into the patient's pupil. This is a very basic tool, not really used anymore. And it was not easy to find. This was often used during the 19th century until beginning, middle of the 20th century. And since some parts are made of plastic, this one can't be more than 100 years old. And this is the kind of prop I love because it can give so many tingles. These are lenses for glasses. Not for eye exam. We can see there is a hole on each of them, so it can be put on a frame. These are probably from the 40s or 50s, not that old. And they were ready to be mounted. And they make such lovely sounds in these cardboard boxes. let's skip to another roleplay that was supposed to take place in 1812 when I was getting you ready for the ball. And for this roleplay, I used several boxes in which I put homemade cosmetics and makeup tools such as the rouge or the gloves. And I found these boxes on second-hand websites as usual, except one. I found this one on Etsy. This is a powder box with its old-fashioned puff and supposed to be from the Georgian era, meaning end of the 18th, beginning of the 19th century, but I doubt it. It is in very good condition and it wasn't that expensive, and the puff handle seems to be made of plastic, and that means it can't be more than 100 years old. It could be bone, so maybe end of the 19th century, but it looks like plastic to me. Still, this is a beautiful object. Very soft and fluffy. Let's put it back. And there we have smaller boxes. These are usually meant for pills and probably not very old. I found them for a couple of euros. This one is shiny. But my favorite is this one. There is a kind of heart shape. And I found this one in my grandmother's house. Let's see if you can have a closer look. And I've had this one for quite a time now. I used it for the apothecary roleplays. This is made of tin and glass. It looks like I put powder everywhere. All right. And finally, let's have a look at the props from the One Shop roleplay. And there were many, of course, so again, this is just a selection. And I cannot talk about a wand shop without talking about wands. These are from the set, all handmade, and each one is a one of a kind. So there was this first set. They are very long, maybe too long to be comfortable if you have to fight against dark forces. More like a sword. But still, I found them quite interesting and different from the ones we usually see, including those we see in the Harry Potter movies. These ones were about second hand, so I have no information about the creator. I like these too. The handles are beautiful. And these are my favorites. Much shorter. And my absolute favorite is this one. You might recognize this one as well. This is the first that I show in the roleplay, and this one is the last. Very simple, but perfect. These were bought on Etsy, and you'll find the link of the shop down below. This could be a villain's wand. Quite dark. Let's put them back in the box. I made this box myself with cardboard and decorative paper, and I was quite happy with it. And finally, I wanted to show you this gorgeous wooden notebook. I came across this item when I went to an artisan market. And I must say, I had never seen this kind of box before. This is such a beautiful concept. This one is made of oak wood with an amethyst on the cover and a thick white paper inside. I use it to write some ideas for my videos, and I just love it. Again, you'll find the link to the shop in the description, but I'm not sure they ship worldwide. And that's it. I know I said nothing about the costumes this time. I might make a dedicated video later about them because there are more coming. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions about them props, let me know in the comments and I try to answer. As always, I wish you a very good